Can people who are married stitch this and please explain to me?
Hi, I want to tackle this question. I've been married for 20 years, but I want to tackle it from a standpoint of someone who's been married for 20 years, and we've had hardships, but marriage has not been hard. I literally am married to my best friend, and there are things that annoy me. Like I've seen the videos where people are showing the socks that have been left in random places. I have too. I've seen the videos where the toilet paper roll has not been changed out and things like that. I think that's more of one of the hats you wear in marriage, which is a roommate hat. In marriage, you wear a lot of different hats, and you have to be comfortable flexing between those roles. There are times that my partner is the lead, there are times I'm the lead. There have been times where my partner has made the majority of the money. There's been times where I've made the majority of the money. There's times where I have to be a comforter, he has to be a comforter. I think it's you're comfortable various hats of marriage that you will have to wear. But being a roommate and your roommate not knowing how to pick up after each other, that's not the only issue in marriage. We come from similar backgrounds, which have made marriage a little bit easier from us. So we have a different orientation and expectation on what marriage should look like. And we're usually coming from the same page of this is what marriage looks like to us, but this is where we're going to change our marriage and we don't want to look like our parents. Middle class backgrounds, both our moms are college educated. My dad has college degrees later in life. His father was taking college classes later in life, but we have that similar background. We both come from military backgrounds. There's some variances in our life accordingly, but we come from both military backgrounds. We were both the first only child for multiple years. I'm only child for 7. He's only child for over 10. So there's some similarities. Went to the same college, all that gushy, whooshy, mushy stuff that people are like, oh, ain't that so cute? We had similarities that put us on similar life waves, but we've had hardships. We've lost 2 kids. We've lost all of our grandparents, and we've had a parental loss. So we've gone through drama. We've had financial ups. We've had financial downs. We've had transition in life, and for men, sometimes men don't like it when their wives make more money than they do. We've gone through that. We've gone through one spouse making more money and then the other spouse making more. All those different life transitions, we've had that. But I would say the thing that made our life a little bit easier is we communicated before. We communicated beforehand what we wanted life to look like and what we expected of each other. And I think that's something that many people don't necessarily do. This is a book we went through when we actually went to age and date myself this. We went through this book for 2 years prior to getting married. We went through it literally for 2 years. We took our time with it to figure out if this is somebody I really wanted to marry, and we agreed that we would reevaluate at the end of this book. Not everybody is this methodical. I'm a Virgo, bear with me. He's a scientist and a researcher by nature, so bear with him. So not everybody's going to be this methodical. I do want to give a disclaimer. This book is from my Christian days. So I read this book in the early 2000s when I was still a Christian. I have not been a Christian for over 10 years. I don't prescribe to that faith. There's some good things in it and a whole lot of bad to me. But that's another conversation for another time. But one of the things that this book did really well, and I will say this as well, this book is from 1992. One of the things that this book did really well is it discussing with your partner. So what are your attitudes like? Who does what? This was probably one of the best sections. I laughed because this book had you sign agreements, and we still live by one of these agreements. I hate washing dishes. My family made me wash dishes a lot because I was the oldest kid, ranging between 7 and 9 years older than my siblings, actually almost 10 years older than my baby sibling. So I did a lot of dishes. So guess what I don't do in my marriage? I don't do dishes. My partner does dishes. Been that way for over 20 years. There are times I step in and I help with dishes and I'll clear out a dishwasher or I'll do some things, but that's not my normal job. And I use that as a joke, but it was like, who does what? Who likes to do what? Who doesn't do it? Like to do different things. Conflict and conflict resolution. Going over your conflict resolution style. How do you handle anger? What happens when there is conflict? Are you a leaver or are you a stayer and push it out? What's your religious values? Where do you stand? Money matters was a huge one. Finances. Sexual relationship. How often do you like sex? What is your sexual expression? How far are you willing to go? Are you vanilla or are you on the other side? Children and family. And it really goes into how you expect roles as far as raising children and family go. Do you even want children? What roles will you play? Like, I was a working woman up until the point we had our little one. And I worked up until the point she was 3. And it was very hard. And then she has the developmental delays. So we had to figure out who was going to do what. and I had to step back from work. And that's only a recent change because she's a kid that we had at our 40 and over 40. And so, what does that look like? One thing, I'm not going to go through the whole book, but one thing I really liked was the charts. Like who likes to do what, who will do what, and this is where we were tearing out pages. I'll show you where it had a his work page, a her work page, and then you would come together and do the joint work page. And these are some of the questions that they were asked. And we have made adaptations. And I will add something else to this. You are two people coming together. You have your individual likes, wants, desires. And I think it's really hard. And what I've seen people have hard times on that have been married for an extended amount of time, and I mean over like 7 years, is when some people start to change and adapt. So what's very fortunate for me is me and my partner both have growth mindsets. Neither one of us have a fixed mindset. We're also if you go into astrology, we're also mutable. So his sign is a mutable sign, my sign is a mutable sign, meaning that we adapt and change. And whether it's by educational training, whether it's by training by their parents, as far as a growth mindset is concerned, or whether it's by astrological placements. Not everybody's that way. I've been trained to be adaptable. Most military brats I know are adaptable. You don't have a choice. You're going to adapt or die, or you're going to adapt or get left behind. And so there's some I know that are not adaptable, and they're typically military brats that did not move. But adaptability is a strong trait of a military brat. And then I have parents. One of my parents is like the wind. Whatever goes, he's going with it. And you better move with him or you will be left behind. So if he's getting ready to go on a trip, you better get your stuff packed and get to moving, or you're going to be sitting at the house while he's on that trip. And so by training and by my life situations and experience, I'm adaptable. My partner is very adaptable as well. And one of the lines he said to me, I got frustrated at him. This is about 10 or 15 years ago. I was mad about something. And he goes, you grow and change when I make a mistake. And what I notice in a lot of marriages is people get bitter because somebody's made that mistake so many times, but they don't allow that partner room to grow and change, or they're not willing to grow and change with that partner. And if that partner is growing and changing, every time they get into a fight or argument, they want to do something that's called kitchen sinking. They want to throw everything in the kitchen sink at you. And one of the things that we have as a hard stop and a hard no is that you can't bring old shit back up. So if that shit is not a current event or currently happening, you can't pull an old example and throw it at someone. The head is a thorn on the side. And that goes back to that book, Getting Ready for Marriage. How do you argue? Are you a dirty fighter, or are you really going for resolution? Or do you have to be right? My sign is one that has to be right, and it's something I struggle with. But I think that applies to many people, not just me because I'm a Virgo, if that makes sense. And so marriage is hard, but I think expectations need to be set. And I think that when conflict happens and it's around those expectations, that needs to be brought back up. I also think that when you go through life circumstances, whether it's death of a parent, financial loss, job loss, death of a child, how you handle that conflict will make or break your marriage. Because some people can't go through conflict and pain that deep and resolve it together. But not only are we going to go through it together, but I'm going to deal with my pain. I'm not going to let it fester. I'm not going to hide it under a rug. I'm not going to hide it under a lamp. And is the partner that you're with willing to deal with that pain for you? And so those are things I've noticed over the years. Not sure if this fully answers your question because I'm not coming from a bad marriage, so to speak. I'm just coming from one that's like all marriages are difficult. All marriages have work. But you